some of this. Awesome. Firstly, I want to start with a bit of gratitude. I'm very thankful for your time today. Okay, so I really appreciate that you have invited me in. I get this time and this platform to speak to you all as well. Why are you here? I like that you giggle. To make films, yeah? So you're in college to make films. That's it, is it? And animate, okay?
Explore areas of media.
To explore areas of media, fantastic. So I'm sure there's some photographers, there's some filmmakers. Are there any artists? Are there any creatives as well? Excellent. I like that you put your hand up nice and firmly there. A lot of artists, you say, are there any artists? And they're like, not me. And something like, this person is amazing. And like, yeah. So something I want to talk to you a little bit about today is where I'm at now and my journey. I want to make it relatable to you. So I'm kind of starting with when I was your age, when I was at college as well. So we've established that you're here to learn about filmmaking. To learn about media, explore it in different ways. So there's a number of different media companies that I've worked with over the years, starting mainly with one of the biggest ones that was the Extreme Channel. I've worked with Channel 4, I've worked with S4C, with the BBC quite a lot, with ITV and with a lot of private filmmakers as well. So something I want to talk to you a bit about today as well is this entrepreneurial mindset. And within work roles now, whether you're working as a freelancer, whether you're working as part of a team, whether you're contracted, whether you're employed, people like myself are looking for intrapreneurs. That's people that can be created within my business, that I might be able to set you up and say, here's a project, I need you to run with that, and you need those skills as well. So this is me. I actually sit as the director of 4 companies at the moment. Some of them you might recognise. I don't know if you recognise this one here because we've had a lot of publicity over the last 4 years. We've been on the BBC a number of times as well. So my main one and my first one was BRD Gravity Centre, which is a limited company. So it's limited by liability. It's a company that is set up for its shareholders as well. So we do have shareholders. We have people that own parts of the company, and we do look to turn a profit. So it is a profit-making organisation, even though we do operate a bit like a social enterprise in some respects. Whereas Surfability here is purely a CIC, which is a community interest company. We do it for the community. So it's not about making money, it's a not-for-profit. Money that we make goes back into the company. It doesn't mean I take a wage out of that company, I still make a living out of it, but I don't I don't aim to make lots of money. I do it for the benefit of our members. Okay? And the same with these two as well. We've got Boardability and the CAP, the Callan ADHD project, which are kind of new ones as well. These are So what does the Gravity Centre do? We basically take people from the top of the hill to the bottom of the hill in the most fun way possible. Yeah? We started as board riding development. Yeah, so we run sessions in Gowerton as well. So if you did want to come and volunteer and help out as well, we run some really inclusive skate sessions. So I don't know with a lot of you guys whether you've been to a skate park and it feels quite daunting, and you're sort of like, there's people that are pretty gnarly here as well, and you don't really know where to start. So we hire out big sports halls, and then we actually get people, we stick some music on, we bring in a couple of ramps, and we make it very accessible for people. So we run sessions on these in parks throughout Swansea. We have a centre on North Gower. We've been down in Pembrey Country Park this morning as well, running those sessions as well. How about a scooter? Who would ever go on a scooter? Who's been on a scooter before? Stick your hands up. Yeah, so this is a dirt scooter. It's basically an off-road version of a street or a micro scooter, but far more accessible. It was interesting, so all your hands went up then. There was more on a scooter than on a mountain bike. So I look at barriers to participation in terms of market research. Why don't people want to have a go around? A lot of people. We work with a program called the Us Girls program, and it's about instilling confidence in teenage girls through the use of mountain boards. Because just that act of getting on a board and saying, well, I'm going to ride down this hill, can be quite scary. And then once you've done it, you get this enormous feeling of well-being, and you're actually very confident in yourself because you've overcome that barrier. Okay? And something about being entrepreneurial, it is constantly overcoming problems and barriers, and I'm going to go a little bit more into this in a bit as well. We also have our buggies. You can see that? Who's played Mario Kart? Excellent. So basically, we wanted to recreate Mario Kart in real life. So that's what we've done with these buggies. We race down hills. I might go against you down the hill, sir. We might have a different weapon that we hit targets. If I hit the target, I get bullseye. It's going to cover you in bubbles as you go down the hill. So really interactive, really engaging. Okay. So lots of fun. We have our sledges as well that are super accessible. So that's what the Gravity Centre looks like. What we do as a company is We don't teach you how to mountain board, we don't teach you how to skate, we don't teach you how to surf. We put smiles on faces. That's actually what we sell. Okay? Now, can you see this smile? Because this smile looks a bit like your smile if you were riding down a hill. Yeah? It's a bit, actually, she's about to go down quite a big hill, and she was a bit nervous, but she wanted to appear cool and I'm okay. Whereas Jake, he's really into it. He's like, this is easy, I'm really. And these are two different characters that we kind of find as our clients. Some people are a bit scared, and they have a further distance to travel in terms of their psyche. They overcome that barrier bigger. So we also develop mountain boarding as a sport. Something I started with, quite a few years ago was actually skating, was where I started. And one of our aims then was to make it recognised by other sports, is to make it an Olympic sport. And the last Olympics, surfing and skating were both in there. Okay. Next one, and then our buggies as well. So something we're looking at our buggies as well at the moment is how to make it more accessible for people. We've got a lot of customers that have limb difference, maybe a leg missing, an arm missing, so how we can make it more engaging and easier for them to use as well. But these are phenomenal fun. I'm sure you've seen them with a kite on the beach. We've made adaptations to make them better downhill, but the great thing is they really embrace the weather we have here. So we had a few really wet winters, and even with the boards and the sledges, they struggled to go when it was so wet. They've got bigger tyres. So in the wet, they just turn sideways, and there's nothing more exciting than going sideways when you're supposed to be going that way. Yeah, there really isn't if you've ever tried it. That's what you need to do. Okay, so we are going on to surfability now. So BRD Gravity Centre is a limited company. We do aim to turn a profit. We look at. So what we do is we make the ocean and surfing as inclusive as possible. Now, you'd probably recognise this fella here, because he's the face of the company. He goes on the telly all the time. He's called Ben as well. He's a Benjamin and I'm a Benedict. Okay? And I actually met this chap in 2006 when I was running a surf school in Caswell Bay. And I'd just been on a trip, you've got to imagine this, picture this scene. I'd just been on a trip to Portugal where the waves were really good, really hard, fast, barreling waves, super exciting. Came back to Caswell on Gower, and there's like tiny little waves that are just rubbish. It was a nice sunny day, and Ben's walking out to sea with this funny looking surfboard, and he's all sort of gangly and a bit all over the place, and he was like, "Oh wow, you work at a surf school?" And he was like just so full of the stoke and the excitement on surfing. I was like, "Oh, he's a lovely bloke." So I started chatting to him, and I was like, yeah, it's great, we do instructor training as well. He's like, "I'd love to be a surf instructor." And I was like, "Oh, amazing, well this is something we can help you with for sure." And he was just so happy. But something about Ben as well, he's dyspraxic. So everybody know what dyspraxia is? So it's like physical dyslexia. So hand-eye coordination, yeah? Now I remember when he was doing his instructor training, I was a bit naive as well. I was sort of like, this guy's going to really struggle with the basic skills to deliver a surf lesson because it takes him so long. So what I started looking at then is actually training him on a skateboard, training him on a mountain board to reinforce that action over and over and over so his brain-to-hand coordination was really good, yeah? And it built over time, and it actually gave him kind of a superpower. I know this sounds a bit cheesy and a bit sort of like, but by him taking so long to learn, he has this patience and understanding that everybody moves in different ways and at different speeds. And it gives him this ability to make things far more accessible and take a lot more time. But actually to get people like Kai, who's quadriplegic cerebral palsy, so limited strength and movement in his arms and his legs. So what started with a bath seat on the front of a surfboard, we've now got a fleet of surfboards that are made by a top-end shaper that are designed. So we're down Pembrey this morning. It was pretty wild down there this morning on a board, and we do, we wipe out and we capsize occasionally, but what a beautiful thing to allow every different person to take that risk and have that fun, no matter who they are, yeah? So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you a lovely little video that something I've been working on. I work as a partnership director as well for the companies as well, and we've just managed to land sponsorship by O'Neill Wetsuit. So it's a really good partnership, and we're making a series of films at the moment. I can't show you some of them, so they haven't been released yet, but I can show you this one.
An hour in the water can change your day, your whole week, your whole life. It'll change for me my whole life, an hour in the water. Being here in Wales with the Gower on the doorstep is just incredible. It means that anytime there's a wave in as little as 15 minutes,